It's no secret that fans have been saying this for years that Grimm is being known as a GTS wrestler who buried new talent like Jay Evans, Joe Wolf, Dalton, Pete Corvus, Tommy Salami, Vlad, Hollywood Hooligan, Manabo, and many other GTS superstars you can name them. Even though he wasn't the only wrestler who buries new talents, Triple H was being known as a top WWE superstar who buries new talents or wrestlers who step footed in the ring on their first year in the WWE, such as Booker T, Scott Steiner, Sting, and Goldberg. And the others you can name as a veteran wrestler like CM Punk. John Cena was also being known as a top guy who buried new talent, especially some of their career went down to the drain. And those names were Carlito, Umaga, The Great Khali, The Nexus, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, Zack Ryder, Dolph Ziggler, Ryback, Bray Wyatt, Rusev, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and Baron Corbin. And that's why Grimm is being known as a man who runs the show and buries talents, much like Triple H and John Cena. Pete Corvus is one of the best heel wrestlers in GTS. He is known for a prize fighter who wrestled in a fighting, hardcore styled match. He was inspired by one of his favorite wrestler, Kevin Owens. Both of them have in common. Both of them are multi-world champions, and they can fight anyone because that's what they do best in the ring. This could be one of the dream matches that everyone wants to see, because Pete has the same gimmick as Kevin Owens, and both of them have the same finishers, minus Kevin Owens' main finisher, Pop-Up Powerbomb. People may have different opinion about Jay Evans, who have similar gimmick like Finn Balor, because he occasionally uses his demon persona in the ring. Recently, Finn uses his demon persona at SummerSlam 2018. On the other hand, Jay used to be an ice demon known as Jay Dempsey, which only lasted for 4 months during his first GTS run. The demon gimmick didn't work for him at all, but instead, when he came back to GTS 1 month later, he became a person who has the key to pro wrestling, meaning he would be a successful man who can be a fighting champion that no one can ever be, much like Seth Rollins, who can redesign, rebuild, and reclaim, which is why Jay Evans is most likely has a similar gimmick of Seth Rollins from mid 2014 to late 2016. Nowadays, Seth Rollins is currently known as a wrestler who sets on fire and burn it down. Vlad is being known as a powerhouse and a man who acted like a discount Ivan Drago minus Ludmilla from Rocky IV. However, he used to have a similar gimmick of Rusev, who used to be a hero of the Russian Federation, but instead he's the man who suplexes everyone in the ring, but and uses a fireman's carry facebuster known as Russian Nightmare and Brock Lesnar's finishing move NF5. Brock Lesnar's original version of multiple German suplex was Suplex City. On the other hand, Vlad named it his own version of multiple suplex variations known as Vlad City. And both of them are known as a wrestler who can be the most dangerous wrestler today. Speaking of dangerous wrestlers, there are many dangerous wrestlers who are known as the Powerhouse and Big Sweaty Men. And those top name in GTS is none other than Jake Cage. He is the current uprising wrestler in GTS and a former football player who claims to be the best face of New Jersey wrestling. He may have a similar gimmick of Edge, Batista, Big Show, Rhino, and Goldberg because of his finishing move known as a spear. But he is no different than the big dog Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is known as the big dog who defends his yard while the face of New Jersey wrestling defends himself in the ring. Joe Wolf is one of the most talented wrestlers in GTS wrestling. Joe used to be also as Peter Pan, which he claims to be Robin Hood. It didn't work for him at all, so he turned himself as a lone wolf, but it only lasted for about 6 months until he won the lottery and became a millionaire. thus having a similar gimmick of Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase. He is known as a guy who loves to shut people up and disses people who do not have much respect for him. He's much more like a WWE superstar, The Miz. But what's more different is that The Miz is a Hollywood star and the most charismatic superstar on WWE television because of his in-ring promos and his reality show, Miz and Mrs. Joe Wolf may be a millionaire, but he is the most charismatic wrestler on the mic, while in GTS. So much for the microphones, am I right? The Mark is also one of the most charismatic wrestlers in GTS wrestling, especially during his indie scenes where he is known as Jeff Bravo. He occasionally uses that name in GTS, especially when he was a heel in GTS. He is known as a copyright infringement character because he uses several wrestlers' taunts, but he's been a big fan of his favorite wrestler, The Rock, which is why The Mark uses The Rock's gimmick, finishing move, signature move, and taunts. Billy Ambrose has appeared on GTS Wrestling more often now. He is known for resembling a young lunatic fringe Dean Ambrose, who he also bases his moveset off of. In storyline, he is well known as Dean Ambrose's nephew, who loves to be hardcore in the ring, which is why he was inspired to step foot in the ring by his favorite wrestler, Dean Ambrose. Fallah Bahh is billed as a heaviest wrestler. He wrestles for Independent Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, and GTS Wrestling. He was inspired to be a wrestler because when he was young, he watched the first season of Monday Night Raw, where it shows a WWE Hall of Famer, Yokozuna, wrestled many squash matches. Because of the resemblance, his gear is reminiscent of the traditional mawashi. Just because Fallah found his inspiration from his work when he began training to be a wrestler doesn't mean that Yokozuna is his favorite wrestler. But this may be the dream match that we could ever witness in wrestling industry. Giant Letter is one of the scariest wrestlers in not just GTS wrestling, but during his indie scenes. He is being known as a giant who wears those kinds of masks, but similar resemblance of two great WWE performers, The Undertaker and the Big Red Machine, Kane. He's more likely using Chokeslam and Tombstone Piledriver as his finishing move, which was adopted by two of the greatest wrestlers in the WWE. We won't get to see Giant Leather in the ring without his mask anytime soon. If he did wrestle without his mask, then it wouldn't fit his own persona. But only time will tell if Giant Leather decided to step into the WWE ring, either using his gimmick he used from the indie scenes, or will we ever see him differently without the mask? Which GTS wrestler do you think that has a similar WWE gimmick? Leave a comment and give me your opinion. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Peace and good day.